Hello friends, myself Dr. Rakesh Kumar Ameta. In this video, we are going to discuss about Mossbauer spectroscopy. Mossbauer spectroscopy is based on quantum mechanical Mossbauer effect. The Mossbauer spectroscopy measures the spectrum of energies at which specific nuclei absorbs gamma rays. It means there is a source and there is a sample. The source emits gamma rays and these emitted gamma rays are absorbed by sample. Generally, the Mossbauer work has been done on iron 57, 119 stannous, 151 europium, 121 antimony and 161 dysprosmium. Mossbauer spectroscopy tells about chemical structures and magnetic property of the compound. It also tells the crystalline and amorphous nature of the material. In Mossbauer spectroscopy, we have to understand the recoiling energy, resonant absorption of gamma rays and emission of gamma rays. Now we have to discuss about principle of Mossbauer effect. In Mossbauer spectroscopy, there is a source and there is a sample. Generally, excited cobalt 57 is used as a source in my Mossbauer spectroscopy. In excited state, cobalt 57, and when this excited 57 cobalt comes into ground state, that time it releases energy near around 14.4 kilo electron volt. And this energy is sufficient to excite the sample like iron 57 to its into excited state from ground state. And when this sample iron 57 comes in ground state, that time it releases gamma energy or gamma rays and at the end signal and spectra is recorded. So this is basic principle for Mossbauer spectroscopy. When the Mossbauer spectra was being recorded for the compound or samples, that time the signal was found to be very weak because of recoiling. So first we have to understand what is the recoiling. So for understanding the recoiling energy, we have to consider an example of gun. When a bullet is fired, it pushes gun back. That is recoiling. And there is a little amount of energy is wasted. And this wasted energy is known as recoiling energy. The same thing happens with Mossbauer spectroscopy. When source releases gamma rays and it is absorbed by the sample, that the whole energy or whole gamma rays are not absorbed by the sample, or whole energy is not utilized to excite the sample into its excited state. So there is a waste of little bit energy, and this waste or loss of energy is called as recoiling energy. Since the effective mass is inversely proportional to recoiling energy, it means if we are able to increase the effective mass of the source, then we can minimize the recoiling energy. So such concept was considered for Mossbauer spectroscopy, and because of that, the large crystal of excited cobalt 57s were taken as source. The reason behind taking the large crystals of excited 57 cobalt was to increase the effective mass of source, because when we convert or when we take large crystal, the effective mass is increased, and since the effective mass is inversely proportional to recoiling energy, so large crystals of excited 57 cobalt source minimize the recoiling energy. But after that, experiment was conducted and results were recorded. That time it was found that no desired intensity of signal was found. So scientists went to find out the result of this recoiling energy. So there was scientist R.L. Mossbauer who told that there are vibration in the compound or in molecule when these are in solid state. It means when we are taking crystals of cobalt 57, it means there are some vibration into it, and these vibrations are called as or known as phononic vibration, and because of such vibration there is recoiling of energy. So to minimize such vibration, the excited cobalt 57 was kept at low temperature, because we know that if we want to minimize the vibration we have to keep the temperature low. So the source was kept into low temperature, for low temperature. And how they achieved low temperature? By taking liquid nitrogen or liquid helium, because the temperature of liquid nitrogen is near around minus 160 degrees centigrade or minus 190 degrees centigrade, and the temperature of liquid helium is near around minus 270 degrees centigrade. That's why liquid nitrogen or liquid helium was taken. Then when the source was kept in liquid nitrogen or liquid helium, it was used as a source for Mossbauer spectroscopy. Then intensity was good, but signal was not sharp. So to overcome this concept of Doppler effect was considered and found very good result in signal. When there was two things, first large crystals were taken but results were not good. Then the source was capped in liquid nitrogen or liquid helium, but again the results were not good or signals were not sharp. So to overcome this, the Doppler effect was considered. Now we have to discuss or we have to understand the Doppler effect. What is Doppler effect? Doppler effect is change in frequency of sound or light. That is Doppler effect. For example, if a train is coming to a point where you are stood, when it comes closer to you, its sound frequency is high. But if it goes far, its sound frequency is less. So the Doppler effect is due to moment of source or sample, there is change in frequency. So in Mossbauer spectroscopy, the movable source was taken or source was made movable. With this figure we can understand the excited cobalt 57 was movable source. When it was coming closer to sample, it was giving good signal, or in spectra we were getting or scientists were getting good signal, but when it was going far from sample, the signal intensity was low. Now we will discuss the Mossbauer parameters one by one. First is isomer shift. What is isomer shift? It is difference in electron density around the nucleus. It means nucleus is surrounded by different kind of molecule or atoms, so there is different electron density around the nucleus. Now how can we calculate the isomer shift in Mossbauer spectroscopy? So it is denoted with delta, that is equal to delta EA minus delta ES, or 2.5 pi Z square bracket R excited square minus R ground excited, and psi square absorber minus psi square source. Now what is delta EA? That is change in energy of absorber. What is delta ES? That is change in energy of source. What is REX? That is the radius of nucleus in excited state, and radius of nucleus in ground state is RGR. Now what is psi square absorber? It means it is electron charge density at the absorber. Absorber means our sample. Psi square source, that is electron charge density at the source. What is source? Source is excited cobalt 57. In simple way, we can use this formula, that is del is equal to K bracket delta R by R psi S square minus C. Now what is K? K is a constant. Psi square is electron density in S orbital. That S represents S orbitals, and psi square is electron density. So psi square S is equal to electron density in S orbital. Now what is delta R? It is the difference in excited radius and ground radius, and RE is radius of nucleus in excited state, and RG is radius of nucleus in ground state. And what is the R? R is the average nucleus of radius, and C is the another constant. This is the important thing that we have to keep in our mind always, that is the value of isomer shape depends upon S electron density, and S electron density is influenced by number of p or d electron present in respective p or d orbitals. So we can say that number of p or d electron decreases the S electron density, and we can say that S electron density is inversely proportional to number of p or d electron. For understanding of this, we have to take some example. First we take iron as an example. In case of iron, the sodium nitroprusside is taken as reference standard for Maus Bohr spectroscopy. We know the formula for calculating isomer shape is K into a bracket delta R by R psi S square minus C. We have to keep in our mind that the value of delta R is always negative for iron. I repeat, the value of delta R is always negative for iron. So the S electron density, as S electron density increase, the result comes in negative because delta R is negative. So overall isomer shape decreases. Overall the value of isomer shape is lower or decreases. So we can say in case of iron, the isomer shaped value is inversely proportional to S electron density. Why? Because delta R value for iron is always negative. For example, if we have to arrange iron, iron plus, iron 2 plus and iron 3 plus in ascending or descending order in their isomer shift values. So how can we arrange? First, we have to see the electronic configuration of such species. For iron, it is 4s2 3d6, iron plus 4s1 3d6, iron 2 plus 4s0 3d6, iron 3 plus 4s0 3d5. One more important thing, when there is electron in s orbital, then we don't need to consider d or p electron. So in case of iron, Fe and Fe plus, there are s electron present in s orbital. In case of iron, there are 2 electrons in s orbital. In case of iron plus, there is 1 electron in s orbital. So we know that in case of iron, the isomer shift value is inversely proportional to S electron density. Why? Because delta R is always negative in case of iron. So in case of iron 0, there are 2 electrons in s orbital. That's why its isomeric shift value will be lower than iron plus. Why? Because in case of iron plus there is only 1 electron. So it will decrease the isomer shift value less than iron 0. So similarly we can understand the order of isomer shift value in iron species, like the isomer shift value of iron 0 is less than iron plus is less than iron 3 plus is less than iron 2 plus. Now we have to understand the isomer shift value for Fe3 plus and Fe2 plus. In case of Fe2 plus and Fe3 plus, there is no s electrons in s orbital. So we have to go for d electron. In case of iron 2 plus, there are 6 d electron, and in case of iron 3 plus there is 5 d electrons. We know that the s electron density is inversely proportional to number of p or d electron. So in case of iron 2 plus there is 6 electron, so it will decrease the s electron density less than iron 3 plus. That's why we get the order of isomer shift value for iron species like this. Now another example we take stannous. The barium stannous, whose formula is BSNO3, is taken as reference standard for SN in Mossbauer spectroscopy. We have to keep in our mind that delta R is always positive for stannous, while in case of iron it is always negative, and in case of stannous it is positive. So isomer shift value in case of stannous is directly proportional to s electron density. As s electron density increases, the isomer shift value of stannous increases. For example, if we have to arrange the stannous species in their ascending or descending order of their isomer shift value, so we get the result like this. The isomer shift value for stannous species is Sn4 plus is less than Sn3 plus is less than Sn is less than Sn plus is less than Sn2 plus. How? In case of stannous, isomer shift value is directly proportional to s electron density. So in case of Sn, Sn plus and Sn2 plus, there are two electrons in s orbital. But there are 2p electron in Sn0 state, 1p electron in Sn plus state, and 0p electron in Sn2 plus. So Sn2 plus will show maximum isomer shift value than Sn plus. Why? Because it has only 1p electron. And then Sn, why it has? Because it has 2p electron. So with such kind of thing, by keeping such kind of thing in our mind, we can solve such problems. Now we have to discuss another parameter of Mossbauer, that is quadrupole splitting. First, we have to understand the reason behind quadrupole splitting. It is because of electric field gradient. Due to presence of electric field gradient, there is quadrupole splitting in Mossbauer spectroscopy. The electric field gradient, that is Q, at the nucleus is arising due to lower or dissymmetry of complex or electrons are incompletely filled in spherical symmetry. So the reason of electric field gradient is it can be due to dissymmetry of complex. Due to in lower or dissymmetry in the complex, or electrons are incompletely filled or systematically not arranged in the orbital, and because of that there is electric field gradient Q. Now what can be condition for electric field gradient? The value of nucleus spin either in ground state or excited state should be greater than half. It means if the value of nucleus spin is greater than half, whether it is in ground or excited state, then and then only quadrupole splitting will be occurred. In case of iron 57 and 119 stenars, there is 3 by 2 value for excited state, nucleus excited state, and 1 by 2 or half value for ground state. Now we have to calculate the degenerate levels for such ground and excited state. Those can be calculated using the formula 2Ni plus 1. So in ground state, 2 into 1 into half plus 1 is equal to 2, and in excited state 2 into 1 into 3 by 2 plus 1 is equal to 4. So in excited state there are 4 degenerate levels, and in ground state there is only 2 degenerate state. Okay, so now we have to have the value for such degenerate levels. In case of ground state there are 2 degenerate states, so the value would be plus half and minus half. Similarly, in case of excited state there are 4 degenerate levels, so the value would be plus 3 by 2 plus half minus half and minus 3 by 2 for each degenerate levels. The quadrupole splitting depends upon electric field gradient. Selection rule for Mossbauer spectroscopy is delta M1 is equal to 0 plus minus 1. The M is nucleus state, nucleus spin. So difference between nucleus spin value of excited and ground state should be 0 or plus minus 1, and then electric field gradient is developed and quadrupole splitting occurs. Sometimes it is also asked in examination as MCQ type question that what is selection rule for Mossbauer spectroscopy. So that is delta M1 is equal to 0 or plus minus 1. Now the ground state is the ground state is half and excited state is 3 by 2. So when there is no electric field gradient or 0 electric field gradient, that time we will obtain only one signal or one transition from ground state to excited state in Mossbauer spectra. When there is electric field gradient means if there is electric field gradient is not equal to 0, it means In presence of electric field gradient, the excited state is further splitted into two degenerate levels whose values are plus minus half and plus minus 3 by 2 individually. So in case of electric field gradient, we obtain or we get two transitions or two signals from ground state to excited state like this. Now we have to understand how electric field gradient is developed. So since electric field gradient depends upon the symmetry, so there are two kind of symmetry, ligand symmetry and electronic symmetry. Both symmetries are further divided into two parts, axial symmetry and spherical symmetry. In case of electronic symmetry, the axial symmetry is due to unsymmetrically filled of orbitals, and spherical symmetry is due to symmetric field of or symmetric filling of orbitals. The electronic symmetry is always dominant over ligand symmetry. So first, whenever we go for electric field gradient, analyzing the electric field gradient, we have to consider first electronic symmetry and then ligand symmetry. If the both symmetries are spherical, then electric field gradient will be 0 and there will not be any quadrupole splitting, or we will get only one or single signal. All tetrahedral and octahedral complexes have spherical ligand symmetry, while except these all have axial symmetry. So we have to remember that all tetrahedral and octahedral complexes have spherical ligand symmetry. Now we have to take one example, that how many signals can be appeared in Mossbauer spectra of K4FeCN6. So for solving such problem, first we have to find out both the symmetry ligands and electronic symmetry. The complex K4FeCN6 is octahedral. So we know that in case of tetrahedral or octahedral complexes, there is always spherical ligand symmetry. Now we have to see the electronic symmetry, whether complex has spherical or non-spherical symmetry or axial symmetry. So in case of K4FeCN6, the oxidation state of iron is +2, and electronic configuration of this iron in +2 oxidation state is 4s0 3d6. So the arrangement of electron when complex is formed can be like this. The complex can have maybe low spin complex or maybe high spin, but we have to fix whether it is low spin or high spin. So in case of low spin, the arrangement of electron can be like this, and in high spin the arrangement of electrons can be like this. When we see the molecular formula of complex, then we see that there is cyanide ligand, which is a strong field ligand, and whenever in any complex, if there is a strong field ligand, the complex is low spin complex. So we have to consider the electronic arrangement as low spin complex as shown here, and when we see this, then we find that in in complex the arrangement of electrons are symmetrical. So the electronic symmetry is spherical symmetry. Thus, in case of K4FeCN6, both the symmetries are spherical, and we know if both symmetries are spherical, then there is no electric field gradient, or electric field gradient is equal to 0, and in such case the complex doesn't show quadrupole splitting. Complex shows only one singlet. So in case of K4FeCN6, we will get only one signal. Now the another parameter of Mossbauer, or last Mossbauer parameter, is magnetic splitting. So when magnetic field is present, that time the excited states are further splitted into individual states like this, or as shown in figure. So first, when there is no electric field gradient, there is always one signal. When electric field gradient is present, there are two excitations or two transitions. And when there is magnetic field, then we get six transitions or six signals. So the excited state plus minus half and plus minus 3 by 2 are further splitted into plus 3 by 2, plus half, minus 3 by 2, and the ground state is also further splitted into two individual degenerate levels whose values are plus half and minus half. So in magnetic field splitting, the excited states are further splitted into individual degenerate states. Now we can understand this thing by taking example of 61 nickel. In case of nickel, the ground states value is 3 by 2 and excited states value is 5 by 2. So ground states, the degenerate levels for ground states are 4, whose values are plus minus 3 by 2 and plus minus half. For excited state, the degenerate values are 6. The degenerate levels are 6, and whose values are plus minus 5 by 2 for 2, plus minus 3 by 2 for 2 degenerate levels, and plus minus half for 2 degenerate levels. When there is electric field gradient, the ground state is further splitted into two individual levels whose values are plus minus 3 by 2 and plus minus half. The excited state is further splitted into three sets whose values are plus minus 5 by 2, plus minus 3 by 2 and plus minus 1 by 2. So there are 5 quadrupole signals in presence of electric field gradient, and when magnetic field is present, that time the individual sets of ground states are further splitted into 4 sets whose values are plus minus 3 by 2, plus 3 by 2, minus 3 by 2, plus half and minus half. And excited state are further splitted into individual degenerate levels whose values are shown here. So in case of nickel, we have 12 magnetic lines, 12 signals, 12 transitions from ground state to excited state. Now we have to discuss the application of Mossbauer spectroscopy in very brief. So Mossbauer spectroscopy is used to obtain the information about valence state of metal ions, structural property of compounds or molecules, the bonding property of the compound and molecules, the solid state reactions, mixed valencies, spin crossover, magnetic properties of Mossbauer active ions. Mossbauer active ions means the ions who gives Mossbauer spectra, corrosion study, Advanced material manufacturing, magnetic tap materials, glass manufacturing, such are the applications of Mossbauer spectroscopy. Sometimes it is also asked in examination that list out the 5 or 10 applications of Mossbauer spectroscopy. Now these are the some compounds whose Mossbauer spectra are given, that you have to understand this thing. You have to solve such kind of things, such kind of problems, that the particular compound is showing particular spectra why. And if you don't know, or if you are not able to understand this, you can ask me by making comment, putting a comment in comment box. Thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you.